What's up, guys? This is Marina here in sunny Coronado, California on your show UnBroken here at IQ Podcast Studios. Today, I actually have two lovely guests that I wasn't even expecting to have today. I just met them probably 10, 15 minutes ago. I have Lupe.
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
And I have her lovely beau, Josh.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, how's it going?
Going good.
So, totally, this is completely spontaneous. So, Lupe, I want you to just tell me who you are. Explain to everybody who you are.
Okay. I was born in Santa Cruz County, and I only lived there for probably 6 months. And my parents got transferred to Orange County. I went to school all through college in Orange County, and then moved when I was 21 and to Oceanside, and I've been in San Diego County ever since. So that's about 31 and a half years.
Nice out of you. Good.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. I love it. I actually would not want to move back.
Oh,
I
okay.
love San Diego.
Well, that's good.
Mhm.
Okay. And Mr. Josh.
Well,
Tell me
hi,
about
I'm
you.
from San Diego, and I manage many different businesses here. Own a surf shop, manage restaurants, and I co-parent for almost all adult children. My youngest turns 18 this weekend.
Put that towards you. There you go.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, so that's perfect because we're actually going to be talking about co-parenting today.
Oh.
We talked about crazy versus passion a second
Uh-huh.
ago on that type of stuff. So as you all know, last week I had gone to Mississippi to take my daughter to go see her dad for her spring break. She's 3 years old, and we're still working on the co-parenting stuff and what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and that type of information. So I'm so happy to have these two guests on today because they're definitely going to give me a lot of insight on what to do, I hope,
Right.
or how to
Yep.
react to
'Cause
certain
our kids
situations.
our kids are much older.
So how old are your kids?
So I have one, and
Okay.
she's 24. She'll be 25 this year. So I'm on a completely different side of the scale than you are.
And how long have you been separated from her father?
It's been about 4.5 years now. So we really never had to technically co-parent.
Mhm.
I mean, she was an adult when she went off to school is when we decided. It was like her freshman year in college. So we
Mhm.
were, luckily it was not like a custody issue. It was just, she's an adult and we just need to handle it differently. So I can't even imagine. Josh can give you perspective on that side, but yeah, for sure. It's very different, when you have an adult child.
Right. And if you don't mind me asking,
No,
how your
please.
daughter took it?
It's funny you say that because Josh and I talk about this so much because we come from different backgrounds as far as like how old our kids are and just everything in general.
Mhm.
And I really thought that getting a divorce when my daughter was an adult was going to be much easier, where that's not the case at all. So kids still take it very hard. I mean, I was married to her dad for 26 plus years. So
Mhm.
that's all she knows. So it's very hard for her to see us living such a different life now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
sure going away. Did she move away to college, or is she still in the same area?
No, she actually grew up, or she actually went to school in NAU. So she went up to Northern Arizona University. She
Okay.
now lives in New York, actually.
Oh, good for her.
Yes, she's doing very well. She got her degree in what she wanted, which was photojournalism,
Ooh.
and she's just she loves photography, so she's just taken off in New York.
And
which
how
is great.
How is she doing now?
As far as like she's still
Mhm.
having a really tough time.
Really?
Which like I said, I was really shocked about, but not not completely, out of left field, but in it, they act very different and react to it in a very different way because they are adults and they understand things differently than a child.
Mhm.
So, but regardless, it's still hard.
Okay.
Yeah. So dealing with having to, see her go through that is still tough on us as parents.
And while raising her obviously together, was there a
Mhm.
time when she was younger where you felt like you were just with,
Oh, for sure.
just for her?
Oh, for
So,
sure.
do you wish that?
We talk about this a lot,
Mhm.
and I talk about it with my girlfriends. And, if I were to have to do it all over again, I don't think I'd do it differently. I just think, and honestly, for her sake, and I think her father would say the same thing.
Mhm.
She was so integral in our lives. I mean, she's our only child, So we basically, our lives literally were around her and her
Right.
life. So I don't know. I really don't think I would do it differently, because now, I'm 51, and now my life is my life.
Mhm.
And not that I would ever, not want to share it with her or anybody else. But it's very different now as a 51-year-old, and not having to worry about, my child, because she is doing very well for herself and she's an adult. So now
Right.
it's like, I tell Josh all the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, raising children, both he and I, we would never thought we'd be, what we're doing, being where we are now, as empty nesters, and just like, we're like kids now.
Oh,
It's
I'm
like,
sure.
what can we do
Hell
now?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is
That's got to
awesome.
be amazing.
It is. It's awesome. We're very, very lucky.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Josh, tell me, you have how many kids?
4 kids.
4 kids.
4 children. Well, I don't know how to say it. I have 4 adult kids.
Okay.
Mhm.
17 will be 18 this Sunday. 19-year-old, 21-year-old, and 26-year-old.
Nice.
Started in high school.
Okay. All right. So, and how long have you been co-parenting?
So I got separated. It'll be 10 years this year. 10 years ago. And
So you said your youngest is going to be 18?
you girls are going to try and make me cry today, aren't you?
Oh, don't cry. You're
Um,
teaching. You're teaching right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say co-parenting. It wasn't. I would not say it was co-parenting at first. It was fighting over them for a long time. I would say it became co-parenting about 4 years into that.
Okay.
Yeah. It was definitely a struggle just to work things out. It eventually took the courts to work it out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you said your youngest right now is going to be 18 this weekend?
He's going to be 18 this weekend.
Okay. So, and you said 10 years ago. So he was about 8 years old when you and your.
Yeah. 8, 9 years old. Yeah.
And then 4 years after that is when you guys started to, you and your.
Well, no, I was still, we weren't sure if we were going to be divorced at that point. We were separate.
I see.
So I wasn't necessarily fighting for custody or, like all the child support, like those kind of things weren't a factor. It was just, I lived in a different house, and if there was one of the kids' games or a play, I would be there. And there was even a stretch where I would go over to the house in the morning and get them ready for school just because it's okay. Just because like you guys know, they became my world.
Absolutely.
So it was really rough not to have them on a daily basis. And so I just made a deal that I could come over in the morning, help them get ready, make their breakfast, get them packed for lunches, and then I would date them.
That's amazing. I think that you showing the impact that you had of going over there before school, I've honestly never heard of that before, and I think that that's pretty phenomenal that you would do that.
I would say it's partly selfish. I missed them,
Well, selfish in a good way, though. That's a good way to be selfish, though. There's no reason to, not think that wouldn't be a good thing.
No, I appreciate that. I never wanted them to think that I was not there because I didn't want to be there. That it was because I would rather be surfing in the morning and get them ready for school or whatnot. It was. I didn't want the wrong impression for them just because their mom and I were no longer wanting to be together. I didn't take anything from the house. I figured even after divorce, I left everything. I figured even if it's hard enough not having your parents together. On top of that, then what? Half the belongings in your house are missing. Yeah. So so that was the way I coped with it, and that was the way I tried to relay a message to them. And whether they got it or not, it was just what I felt I needed to do at the time.
And the relationship with your children through all of this, did it stay?
I definitely had a lot of years. Other people would ask me, how do you do so much with your kids? And I was still a kid. So I took him surfing, skating. We played baseball. I had a huge trampoline in my backyard and
That's amazing.
And a rock climbing wall and an octagon to train Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu in. And
go to that house.
Uh-huh.
Like, I want to go there.
We were always doing stuff, and I think it laid a foundation that even though whatever information they were getting from other people about me, it's still, they had a foundation to where even my youngest told me recently, I've never listened to anything anybody else said about you, because every time I'm with you, you're still the dad that
oh my gosh, that's
so yeah, it meant a lot to me, and he's gonna come up and spend this weekend with me for his birthday, and don't tell him it's a surprise when I'm taking him shooting.
Ooh, nice.
Never been shooting, so
I promise I won't call him later and tell him like, hey,
yeah,
I know you don't know me, but so I was gonna ask both of you actually, like how, because my divorce is pretty, it's not, I mean, we've been separated for a while, but it's pretty still kind of new. I mean, my daughter's only 3 years old, and I don't talk bad about my ex in front of my daughter.
We talk about that.
I absolutely will not. Now, I do talk bad about him to people, but never, ever, ever do I ever say one thing about him in front of her that is not a good thing. I think respect wise, he does the same thing. I don't believe he badmouths me, but our relationship, if we are arguing, even though we are no longer together, is so toxic at times that it scares the living crap out of me. That what if that one time we just get into this vicious fight and something said to my daughter about me, and I think my biggest thing is right now, there was kind of an incident when I was in Mississippi, and like my emotions got the best of me when I was there, because I didn't want to be there in that situation. It was just not, I wasn't there, but I was so afraid that he was just going to say all these bad things to my daughter about me. And that could be in my head. I don't know, but things that come out of his mouth and that I've heard he said when she's been around. So, I mean, how do you deal with that kind of stuff if you guys have ever been in that situation with your...
Well, I can speak for myself and my ex-husband. Well, I shouldn't say I can speak for him, but I'm saying in our relationship, that's something that I have so much respect for you for, because I do see those parents that talk so badly about each other, and that just destroys the children. I don't care what anybody says. You're talking to a child that now has been split between two parents that absolutely love them. And you have one parent talking bad about the other parent is not okay in any way, shape, or form. I don't care what was done, what was said, whatever the case may be. You got to leave the kids out of the marriage part of it, because that's between you and your spouse. You do not ever bring the children in, because that is very, very toxic. So as much as you dislike, your ex or whatever, I would, highly recommend continue with that attitude that you have, which is great, of never saying anything bad about your ex. Obviously, if it becomes something that it's really, that would be toxic for your daughter, then obviously you would need to say something, but not to her. You'd need to bring professionals into it. But as far as like bad mouthing your ex, I know it's easy to do, especially when you're angry. That, like I said, for me, it was very different, because my daughter was an adult and she was away at school. So when we had our disagreements, it was just he and I, and nobody else around, So, but I have learned that it's really important to not, I mean, some things may come out like, oh, I can't believe your dad said that, or, and I'm sure he says, oh, I can't believe your mom did that, but never anything that's going to harm your children's emotions.
And I think the emotional part for me is not because of like my angry emotions towards my ex. It's the emotional part of my daughter ever hearing, so when I did get worked up this past week, it was because I was so like, but it was about her, not about him, if that makes sense. Because there's no, there's
Yeah.
nothing there with that. So,
Oh no. And I think,
What do you mean it was about her?
yeah.
I was so afraid of what she was going through. I didn't want her to see or hear anything that he would say to me when she wasn't around, if that makes, because there were things that he said to me when she wasn't around. Like my ex's mom came to visit as well. So she was with her and we got into an argument, and the stuff that can come out of his mouth is pretty awful. And I'm not saying I've never said anything awful before, but the whole thing of me getting upset is that, oh my God, like, would he ever do this in front of her? And then that's when I get worked up. Like, I try to be the best mom that I can. I try and be completely fair to her about him. I make sure that she talks to him. I think I was talking with one of my good friends recently, and she was explaining to me that, I've created this situation where I haven't really set any boundaries with my relationship, or with my daughter's relationship and her father and me. And that's my fault, which I need to do. But I get so afraid because she's my only child. I'm not going to have any more children. And I'm so afraid that I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her to ever think anything bad of me. And that's why I get scared.
Well, from my experience, because I have an only child too, what I would say is be realistic with her, but also in a loving way. So in other words, try to always find the positive things in life, whether it's, with her life, with her father, whatever, because at the end of the day, your kids are going to remember every single thing that you said and how it impacted them. I know this because now my adult daughter tells me things and I'm like, oh my gosh, she remembered that,
Right.
she, so they're watching and listening to everything that we say.
Right. No, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Yeah. That's why I try not to.
Yeah.
And I would never hold my daughter from him. I'd never have.
Yep.
Like, he threatens me with stuff like, just the normal. But it's like, no, I'm not that person. I would never do that. No matter how much you hated me, she's still your daughter at the end of the day. And I will make sure that you get to see her, or you make sure you get to see her. But I will never tell you no.
Yep. And I will tell you, as Josh has said about his youngest son, the kids are going to make their own decisions when they're adults, regardless.
Right.
So if you've shown them positivity and not, talk badly about their other parent, they're going to remember that. And they're going to someday at some point go, well, why would mom have said that about dad? Dad, that's my dad. I mean, so it's hurtful.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Why would mom say that about dad? I love my dad. He's not anything that my mom says. You know what I mean?
And that's why I'm hoping. I mean, like you said, my daughter, she remembers everything right now. That's why. In some points, I wish that she was a little bit older to understand how to make her own decision. Obviously, I have many friends who are divorced and separated who have older children that are making the decision on their own.
Right.
And they're making a good decision. Like, they understand, which is amazing,
Yep.
But it's a scary thing. Like, I don't think anybody goes into anything like this thinking they're going to be a single parent or,
no
things.
way. No way. I honestly thought, and I'm sure Josh did too, we both got married very young. I was not even 21 yet.
Oh, wow.
And we met in college. So I honestly thought, and so did Josh, that we were going to be married to our partners forever.
Yeah, I was 19.
Yeah, and he was 19. And he was married for 18 years, and I was 26. So we have longevity.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't just take it lightly, did we?
No, and the thing with the kids that I've seen, because I've been going through it a lot longer than
Yes, you have.
you guys. There were things that they revealed to me that they were told that was absolutely not the truth about things that happen.
That scares me.
And what they've seen by their own experience, they knew it was wrong. By their own way that we were relating and I was with other people, they realized that what was told was a lie. I didn't even know they were lied to. So I think if you get worked up and worry about that, you can almost create more drama than it's worth.
You are completely right with that, because the next day I sat back. Obviously, I talked to a few friends and I realized my reaction was completely unwarranted almost.
Yeah, I think you can create what you fear, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the problems that I had with their mom wasn't about her as a parent. Yeah, she's more of a disciplinarian than I am. I tried to use a reward system to get them to do the right thing. She would run around in the morning yelling with a wooden spoon about getting in the car on time to get to school. Get your clothes on, get your hair, And on my days, because I worked nights, so I wasn't up in the morning a lot. I managed the old spaghetti factory downtown San Diego. Woo woo.
That's a shout out to his old
Little
team.
shout out. So I didn't usually get up in the morning with them, but on the times that I did have the day off and I would take that role, all I did was say, you guys are in the car with enough time, we're going to get McDonald's on the way to school.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
I didn't have to do one thing. They were all telling me, Dad, we're going to the car. Let's go. So
put your shoes on, Dad. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Now you're dragging, so I was more of that. But as much as the anger I had towards her through all the stuff, it was mostly stuff about her and I. She tried to control I was very involved in jiu-jitsu and surfing and the things that go along with that, with the travel and training schedule. And I had 4 kids and I had a full-time job. So she was feeling neglected in that. And I wasn't willing to let go of some of the dreams and goals I had. So those were things that so our problems didn't really relate to necessarily like I thought she was a terrible person or parent. So there was no reason to tell them the things I didn't like because they were mostly things that didn't relate to them. Looking back, I've even I told her that I spent a lot on child support, by the way.
Yeah, 4 kids.
4 kids who were in private school, so it was a lot, and it still wasn't. It wasn't the amount. Sorry, it was a very small amount for. I couldn't pay anybody else anywhere close to what they got from their mother. What I'm trying to say is if I had hired somebody to do what she did, the impact would have been so minuscule compared to their mom. So I don't have any problem with them spending that money. I really do appreciate the job she did I appreciate the job she did as a mom. I get jealous and the tears come from all the things I missed out on. And if we were in a disagreement, she wouldn't even tell me that. I found out later my daughter got homecoming queen. I didn't even know that she was nominated or that, the date of the event and everything because she was not happy with me. So I didn't get that information. And so this is for anybody going through that same thing. Just it's got to come from the kids at some point at that age. So I started communicating just directly with them about most everything. So I wouldn't miss out on those things. So there were things I had a problem with, but as far as her and the kids, she did a phenomenal job that I couldn't pay anybody else for.
That's a very good point.
That's good.
So there's anything that I would say that would be bad would only have taken away from her power as a mom and made her job more difficult, which in turn would have made parenting more difficult, which would have made my kids have a harder life, so in the end it would have backfired.
That's a great way to think about it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. I learned a lot today.
See, this is what happens when you talk to old people.
No, usually, honestly, it's me just like blah 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 blah. Like today, a friend I'm in jiu-jitsu as well, and I was training earlier, and my friend was like, "Maybe can you make it a little bit more than 11 minutes?"
Well, hopefully we've helped you with that.
No, it was great. I'm so happy you guys
well,
came
Marina,
in today.
Marina, you had a toddler pulling down your pants last time. So that's your excuse.
I wasn't wearing underwear with my sweats.
Hey, do any of us on this podcast today wear underwear?
Right? With their sweats or anything else?
She was just like so blah. Anyways, well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. That was such a blessing to have you guys today.
So spontaneous.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Thank you for your stories. And wow, I learned a lot going into the next phase of my co-parenting, I guess. And hopefully the listeners did as well.
Absolutely. You're going to do great.
Hope so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Now you have your goal is clear.
Yep.
I think as long as you stick with that goal and don't let the little things on the way distract you from it, you're going to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be great.
Just always think of what, how your daughter would see it.
Right.
And that really makes us stop in our tracks when we do that.
Absolutely.
And you got to let go of the things you can't control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really hard.
Which,
Thank you for having us.
Like I
Yes,
said,
thank you so much.
Oh
Marina.
no, I'm so happy, you guys. Hopefully I can have you guys on again. We can
Sure.
discuss guess what's happening. All right, guys. So with that said, in conclusion, that's our show for today. And I want to thank you for listening in to Unbroken. And I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We have obviously our lovely Attorney King at Attorney King. I was gonna say
Attorney King Studios.
Attorney King Studios. We have Saquon Casino and Resort, Indian Motorcycles of San Diego, the gym, and obviously my gym, IB Fitness. Till next week, you guys. XOXO. Bye.